Hello, and welcome to Warsaw's POL242Y1 Bivariate Crosstabulation presentation. I'll be analyzing support for democracy in the country of Algeria. As a nation, Algeria has historically struggled with becoming democratic. The first national elections in 1991 led to a violent civil war wherein more than 160,000 members of the population die. One question a political scientist would ask after hearing this would be, why did this happen? How can we prevent tragedies like this from occurring in the future? This leads to my presentation's main research question. What factors caused democracy to lose support in Algeria? For this assignment, I've chosen to analyze the country of Algeria, and so I'm using the Arab Barometer 2007 dataset, which features a total of 1,300 respondents. The specific research methods I'll be using in this assignment are the Cronbach's alpha test, the ANOVA test, the Skewness test, the chi-square test, and Kendall's Tau-B. The first piece of literature that I've analyzed suggests that liberalism is a Western ideal that many Islamists reject. Since democracy promotes liberal ideals, it is likely that those who support them also support democracy. This leads to my first hypothesis. Support for Western ideals leads to support for democracy. The third piece of literature that I've analyzed suggests that government corruption likely increases the desire of the people to become democratic. Of course, this leads to my third hypothesis. Perception of governmental corruption increases support for democracy. The second piece of literature I've analyzed suggests that two sides stand ideologically opposed in Algeria. Algerians for and Algerians against the separation of church and state. This leads me to my second hypothesis. The rejection of religion and government leads to support for democracy. I've created an index measuring the respondents' level of democratic support through combining three different indicators that measure this concept. The Cronbach's alpha test returns a value of 0.79, which indicates that the index can be considered reliable. The alpha score cannot be increased through deleting any values, and so for the purposes of this analysis, it should be satisfactory. This cross-tabulation measures support for Western ideals versus democratic support. The Tau-B value of 0.16 indicates a weak, but present, positive relation between the variables. The chi-square value indicates that there's less than a 0.0005% chance that the results are due to sampling error. The ANOVA test returns a value of 0.0000, meaning that there's less than a 0.5% chance that the results are due to error. The Skewness test reports that those who agree and strongly agree differ significantly from the other respondents. This cross-tabulation measures rejection of religious government versus democratic support. All the values look very similar to the previous cross-tabulation, with the exception of the Tau-B value, which is at a lower 0.15, which again indicates a weak, but present, positive relation between the variables. This cross-tabulation measures the perception of government corruption versus the support for democracy. The Tau-B value of negative 0.06 indicates that there is no relation between the variables. The chi-squared value indicates that there is less than a 0.0005% chance that the results are due to sampling error. ANOVA returns a value of 0.0002, meaning that there is less than a 0.5% chance the results are due to error. The Skewness test reports that those who disagree, agree, and strongly agree differ significantly from other respondents. So, what can we conclude from all that? A Tau-B score of 0.16 means that the relationship between support for Western ideals and support for democracy does exist. However, it is only a weak relation. This confirms what is suspected by the literature. A Tau-B score of 0.15 means that a rejection of religious government is likely to cause support for democracy. This relationship is weak. However, it proves the literature on the subject is accurate. A Tau-B score of negative 0.06 means that there is no relation between the two variables of perception of corruption and support for democracy. The literature, in this case, has been contradicted. So, what can we conclude? If Algeria wishes to turn toward democracy, the people must cast aside their fear of Westernism. This may be hard, however, given the extreme amount of religious extremism present in the region. Also, if the citizens opt to vote against religious extremism in the government, they may become more democratic. Work should be done on reducing extremism if democracy is what Algeria wants.